is, like I said, dealing with segment lengths, okay? Weston, put that away. So when we're dealing with segment lengths, it's very different, but they look very similar, okay? You have to pay attention to what you have, because while they look similar, they are not really that similar. You're paying attention to, do I have degrees or do I have just a length of a segment, okay? If you look at this first picture, for instance, right, that looks a lot like the picture of the one where you're like, oh, it meets inside, so I'm going to do half of arc plus arc and get my angle. We're not dealing with angles this time, okay? Now we're talking about the lengths of the segments. So for this, it says for a given point and circle, the product, what is product?
Result of
Multiplication, yep. So when you are multiplying, the product of the lengths of two segments from the point to the circle is constant along any line through the point and the circle, okay? Meaning the product will not change, like for whatever segment gets thrown in there, the product should be the same. So we're gonna set them equal. Products will be set equal. Picture number one, I would say, is the easiest one, because all you're doing is if it meets inside the circle like this, you go from the point to the circle is a length of A, and then from that point to the other side of the circle on the same line is a length of B, and you multiply them. So A times B, right, that's what's written right here, will equal, now go to a different chord. The other chord, you have a length of C from that point of intersection to the circle, and then a length of D to the other side of the circle. So A times B will always equal C times D. Okay, where it gets a little fancier and maybe a little more frustrating is these next two pictures. If you can just remember the rule, go from the point to the circle and from the point to the other side of the circle, you're golden, okay? From the point to the circle, from the point to the circle. Multiply those two numbers together every time. So if you look at this picture, from P, okay, that's our point of intersection. If I go to the circle, the shortest distance to the circle on the blue line, how long is that? W, okay? This is a length of W. So you go W, okay? And then I need to multiply that by the other distance to the circle. So from this point to the other side of the circle, how long is that? It's not X. It's W plus X, right? So you need to multiply those two lengths together. So it's W times W plus X will equal, they write theirs different than I do. You may write it either way. On the bottom line then, from the point to the circle is a length of Y, and I need to multiply that by Y plus Z from that point of intersection to the other side of the circle. Okay. And then the third one, I would say, is a little bit simpler. If there's a tangent line there, there's only one length that they give us, but we need two. We need the product of the two lengths. Because it's tangent, we use it times itself. So when it's a tangent line like this, we go from the point to the circle is T, and from the point to the circle is T. So T squared, the tangent line squared, will equal, and then the other side is the same. Y is from the point to the circle, and then Y plus Z is from the point to the other side of the circle. Does that make sense? Okay, then we're going to try it on 3 different problems here, which is the 3 different pictures. And maybe I'll give you an extra one if you're like, can we do one more of this kind? So see how you feel about it. If you want another example of any one of these, I'm happy to do another example. Okay, so looking at this first one, letter A. Where is your point of intersection? Inside or outside? Outside the circle. Okay, so here's my point of intersection. To get to the circle, give me one length. 6. Okay, so if we start with 6, right? From the point to the circle is a length of 6. We need to multiply that by that same distance on the same line from the point to the other side of the circle. So from this point all the way to here, what is that? It's 6 plus 8, or you could just write right now 14 if you like that better, okay? Because it is a length of 14. But if you're following the formula, 6 times 6 plus 8. Okay, so that's the one line. And then we're going to set that equal to, from this point, give me one distance to the circle on the other line. 7. So from the point to the circle is a length of 7. And we're going to multiply that from the point. What's the other length to the circle? 7 plus y. This whole length is 7 plus y. Okay, if you can get to this point where you have it set up, you've won half the battle already. The other half of the battle is algebra. Don't let the algebra get you. You're supposed to be really good at algebra now, right? We passed that class. Okay, so simplify this. If I were you, I would not distribute here. That's silliness. Plug it into your calculator. 6, parentheses, 6 plus 8, parentheses, enter. 6 times 14, right? Now, if you want to distribute, it's not wrong. It just leaves more room for error. It just leaves more room for silly little, I punched the wrong button or I looked at the wrong thing. But either way, you should get 84 right there. On the other side, you may either distribute or you may leave it be and divide. Okay, if you're going to divide, what would you divide by? 7. I feel like majority of people distribute here, so I'm going to distribute just because that's what it seems people typically like to do. So I'm going to distribute this. I get 49 plus 7y, and now you're just going to take away the 49 and then divide by 7. So you get, I'm going to move over here, 35 equals 7y. Divide by 7, so y is 5. Okay, now if you really wanted to go back, you could plug a 5 in here. 7 times 12 should equal 84, right? Double check that. If it does, great, you've done it right. Questions on that? Yeah? Good. Okay, what do we do different on B?
The square.
The square, right. So if it looks tangent, you're allowed to assume it is tangent. So the only difference here is we're going to do z squared. Okay, how do you set up the other end of it?
Z squared equals 8 times 8 plus 16.
Right, so from the point to the circle is a length of 8, and we need to multiply that from the point to the other side of the circle is 8 plus 16, or if you want to call that 24 right off the bat, you can do that. But just plug that into your calculator. 8 parentheses 8 plus 16, if you didn't already make it 24, you should get z squared is 192. So how do you solve for z? You square root it, okay? Square root both sides. Z is the square root of 192 is 13 point, yeah, so nearest tenth, we'll say 13.9. You good on that? Okay, last one, and then if you want a few practice ones, I'll give you a few practice ones, or if you want to just get started on the homework, you can get started on the homework. This one is asking a different question. Pay attention to that, right? The question is not what is M. The question is how long is AB? So we want to know the length of this blue cord, okay? How do you set this one up?
6.5 times 10 equals 3 times 7.
Right, so your point of intersection is inside the circle. So from the point to the circle is a length of 6.5. And you need to multiply that from the point to the other part of the circle, which is M. You don't really need parentheses there. You can just write 6.5M equals, on the other segment, from the point to the circle is a length of 3. And then from the point to the other side of the circle is a length of 7, right? So it's 6.5M equals 21. Okay, so we're going to do divide by 6.5. So 21 divided by 6.5 is, M is approximately 3.231, if you will. How long is AB? Nearest tenth would be like 9.7, yeah. So you take your 6.5 and your value of M and you just add them together. That's the length of AB. So AB is going to be 6.5 plus 3.2. So the length of AB is 9.7. Questions on that? Okay, do you want me to give you a few to try on your own? If you're good, if you're like, I've got these, one example of each is great, you can get started on the homework. If you're not great, I'm gonna give you one of each, okay? For you just to try. I'm not even gonna talk you through them. I'm gonna let you try them, and then if you have questions, I will answer your questions. Okay, so there's one. There's two. What's up?
I'm trying to find, like, I was trying to plug in, like, how to find the square root of 192, and it would just come out with, like, an 8 rad 3.
You're in the wrong mode. So if you just click mode here, you want to be in classic, not math print.
Okay.
So just enter and then quit, and then it should do it for you.
Put the decimal.
Yes.
I can't even spell it.
All right, here's your 3. If you want to try them, I'm going to just write the answers down next to it so that if you are trying them, you can check your answers. But let me know if you have questions. And these are not really drawn to scale because I just picked random numbers. Yes. Oh yeah, I messed up on number 3. That is not drawn to scale, but that's okay. So there's the answers if you want to give those a go. If you're not sure on something, let me know. I'm glad to come help you out. And you have like 10 minutes till the bell rings, so see what you can get done of that. Tell with what?
I love the hill, cause everyone had duties to do, so I think they're gonna finish that.
Good luck. Track is early today. No, not quite. So you just want the answers to 12.4A?
Yeah.